What's up, everybody? My name's Chance, and today we're going to be... My name is Chance. Separate words there. Anyways, today we're going to be diving into more spoilers, more card reviews. I think the set drops tomorrow, so... we kind of need to pick up pace. Anyways, I'm going to be reading through the rest of the cards. If I read it and it doesn't sound noteworthy, I'm probably just going to skip it. Like this improvised weaponry, 3 mana, deal 2, create treasure. Kind of bad. Fate's Reversal, return up to 1 target creature card from graveyard to hand, venture into dungeon, could be alright depending on the dungeons. Barrowin of Clan Under, enters the battlefield, venture into dungeon, when it attacks, return up to 1 creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, wow that's good, if you've completed a dungeon. Stipulations, huh? For an uncommon, not horrible. It's a dwarf cleric, so it fits into a few tribals here and there. Dungeon map, 3 mana, tap, add colorless, 3 mana, tap it, venture into dungeon. Cool beans. Kick in the door, +1/+1 counter on target creature. That creature gains haste until end of turn, can't be blocked by walls this turn, venture into dungeon. Ooh. That's really good. Not the whole can't be blocked by walls. You could take that out and honestly it'd still carry almost the exact same weight. But +1/+1 counter, plus venture for 1 mana. You can potentially copy this. Sorry. Yeah, that could be all right. That could be all right. Earthcult Elemental, 6 mana, 6/6 Elemental siege monster. When God dang it! When an Earthcult Elemental enters the battlefield, roll a d20. 1 through 9, each player sacrifices a permanent. 10 through 19, each opponent sacrifices a permanent, and 20, each opponent sacrifices 2 permanents. Interesting. Very interesting. Chaos Chandler, 4 mana human shaman, 4/3 wild magic surge. Whenever Chaos Chandler attacks. Sorry, that song's a little too in my face. Whenever it attacks, roll a d20. 1 through 9, exile the top card of your library. You may play it this turn. 10 through 19, exile 2. You may play them this turn. 20, exile 3. You can play them. It's not bad. Well, except for the fact that it's 4 mana. If it was 3, 2 even, it'd be a pretty good refill for mono red. Triumphant Adventurer, 2 mana human knight, 1/1. Ooh, 2 mana 1/1 never sits too well with me. Death Touch, as long as it's your turn. Triumphant Adventurer has first strike. Okay, so first strike, Death Touch. I can see a little bit more why it's a 1/1. When Triumphant Adventurer attacks, venture into the dungeon. Yeah, okay, that's fine, because you have knights that'll end up boosting the health of this thing up, or maybe enchantments. I like it. You find some prisoners, 2 mana, instant speed, choose 1, break their chains, destroy target artifact, interrogate them, exile the top 3 cards of target opponent's library, choose 1 of them until the end of your next turn. You may play that card, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast it. Interesting. I don't know in what case that becomes, more playable than other things in red if you're going to be playing Grixis Control, which that feels like it's going towards that. Froghemoth, instead of Behemoth, it's a Froghemoth. Froghemoth? I don't know. 5 mana, 4/4, Frog Horror. Trample Haste. Alright, whenever Froghemoth deals combat damage to a player, exile up to that many target cards from their graveyard. Put a +1/+1 counter on Froghemoth for each creature card exiled this way. You gain 1 life for each non-creature card exiled this way. That's very interesting. 5 mana 4/4 with Trample and Haste. It's like I wouldn't call it necessarily a better Questing Beast, but it's like Questing Beast's weird cousin, right? And it's 5 mana instead of 4 mana, so... I like it though, I like it. We'll figure something out with it. Xanthar, we already talked about. Varus, Silvery Moon Ranger, 3 mana, legendary creature, human elf ranger. It's a 3/3 reach ward. Maybe I just need to turn the music down in my headphones. Anyways, reach ward of 1 whenever you cast a creature or planeswalker spell, venture into the dungeon. Wow, this ability only triggers once per turn, that's fine. Whenever you complete a dungeon, create a 2/2 green wolf creature token. A 3 mana 3/3 with reach and ward and the ability to venture into a dungeon and create creatures. Well, yeah, I mean, it's yes, sounds fantastic. Then we have Zalto, Fire Giant Duke, which we also have down here. And there's the normal Varus artwork. Anyways, 2 big dogs. I like that. It's a 5 mana, 7/3 Giant Barbarian. Oh, sounds incredible. Trample. Whenever Zalto, Fire Giant Duke is dealt damage, venture into the dungeon. Interesting. 5 mana, 7/3 with Trample. Ooh. Yeah, 3 life, just, I don't think it's going to be strong enough. Humpashar, Rune Seeker, I hope I'm saying that right. 3 mana, 2/3, room abilities of dungeons you own trigger an additional time. I still haven't seen a dungeon! Oh. Dungeon Descent. It's a land, tap, add mana, 4 mana, tap. An untapped legendary creature you control, venture into the dungeon. Okay. Okay, and then there's her, and there's Dungeon Descent, right. And then we have Shesra, Death's Whisper. Okay, so all these are sort of like main party characters, if that makes sense, like in a D&D standpoint, I think. 4 mana, 1/3. Ooh, that's when Death's Whisper enters the battlefield, target creature blocks this turn if able. That's horrible. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature died this turn, you may pay 2 life. If you do, draw a card. I mean, that's a lot better, but 4 mana for a 1/3. It's kind of bad. Werewolf Pack Leader, we've already talked about. Flame Skull. Have we talked about these two, actually? Draw a card. 2 mana, 3/3. I'm pretty sure we talked about that one. Flame Skull. Can't be blocked, flying. Yeah, we talked about both these. I like them. I like them. Null Hunter, 2 mana, 2/2. Has Pack Tactics. Whenever it activates it, put a +1/+1 counter on itself. Seems fun. Meteor Swarm. X plus 3 mana sorcery deals 8 damage divided as you choose among X target creatures and or planeswalkers. So for 4 mana you can deal 8 damage. That's actually pretty alright. Well, because yeah, for 5 mana you can take out 2 creatures. 6 mana you can take out 3 creatures or 2 creatures and a planeswalker. It's not the world's best removal, board wipe, whatever you want to call it, but you know, could be okay. Orb of Dragonkind, we've already read on that one. Eben Death Dracolich, we've definitely already read that one. The Book of All Darkness, we've read. Goodness. Anyways, you happen upon a Glade 3 mana instant, choose 1, journey on, search your library for 2 basics, reveal them, put them into your hand, so nothing goes into the graveyard, or make camp, return target permanent card from graveyard to your hand. Interesting. You come to the Null Camp, 2 mana, instant, choose 1, up to 2 target creatures can't block this turn, or target creature gets +3/+1 until end of turn. Seems like a common. Shambling Gas, 1 mana, 1/1 zombie, enters, oh no, whenever it dies, choose 1 target creature an opponent controls, gets -1/-1, or create a treasure token. You're probably always going to be creating that treasure token unless they have something like an Edgewall Innkeeper. Grim Wanderer, 2 mana, 5/3 with Flash. Okay. Cast this spell only if a creature died this turn. I think that's still really good. 2 mana, 5/3. I mean, turn 3 Greyhenge is just getting even easier. Right? That's all I'm reading that as. Anyways, Clever Conjurer, 3 mana, 2/3 wizard or gnome wizard, untapped target permanent, not named Clever Conjurer. You tap it and then you untap. It's alright. Aircold Elemental, 6 mana, 2/5. Bad. I don't even need to read the rest of that. 6 mana, 2/5 with flying is just bad. You're ambushed on the road. 1 mana instant. Return target creature you control to its owner's hand. I mean, we already have a creature that's has that ability as well. Or target creature gets +1/+3 until end of turn. No, it's alright. Half Elf Monk. It's a human elf monk. Alright, 4 mana, 1/4. That's bad. That's just bad. Yun T. Malison. I hope I'm saying that right. 2 mana, 2/1. Can't be blocked as long as it's attacking alone. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, venture into the dungeon. That's interesting. So as long as it's attacking all by itself, we can just keep sliding right through the dungeon. You find a cursed idol, 2 mana, sorcery, choose 1, destroy target artifact, destroy target enchantment, or create a treasure token and venture into the dungeon. That's really good. That is super, super solid. For 2 mana, yes. Yun-Ti Fangblade, 3 mana, 2/2, death touch. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, venture into the dungeon. Bad. Feign Death, 1 mana instant. Until end of turn, target creature gains. When this creature dies, return it to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control with a +1/+1 counter on it. I've seen this before, they're usually pretty bad. But, you know, whatever. Bullet, I hope I'm saying that right. 4 mana, beast. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature died this turn, put a +1/+1 counter. Dwarf Old Champion, 2 mana, 3/1, so it's a blade. As long as it's equipped, gets +0/+2. Interesting. So 2 mana, 3/3, essentially, plus whatever the equipment adds. Bar the Gate, 3 mana instant, choose counter target creature or planeswalker, venture into dungeon. Makes sense. Can't read that, another language. Can't read that, another language. Can't read that, another language. Zombie Ogre, 5 mana, 3/5. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature died this turn, venture into the dungeon. It's a common, so seems about right. Morden Kane's Polymorph. I think I said that wrong. 2 mana instant speed. Till end of turn, target creature becomes a dragon with base power and toughness 4/4 and gains flying. Yeah. Find the Path, 3 mana enchant land. When it enters the battlefield, venture into the dungeon. Enchanted land has tap, add 2 green mana. Again, we haven't seen hardly any, if any, dungeons. One of these days. Hunter's Mark, 4 mana instant speed. This spell costs 3 less to cast if it targets, blah blah blah, a blue permanent you don't control. So it costs 1 mana instant speed. Spell can't be countered. Wow. Target creature you control gets +1/+1 till end of turn. Then it deals damage equal to its power to target creature or planeswalker you don't control. Okay, alright. So if it's targeting a Teferi, it costs 1 mana and allows you to take it out pretty much for the free scheme. That's going to be a big sideboard card. Hunter's Mark, mark my words. It's going to be a big sideboard card. Can't read Volo as it's in another language. And yeah, let's go back and knock these out real quick. Keen-Eared Sentry, 2 mana human soldier. You have hexproof. You have hexproof. You yourself, not your creatures. Your opponents can't venture into the dungeon more than once each turn. Yeah, interesting. Seems like the aggro answer to dungeon venturing. Ray of Frost, enchantment aura, flash, enchant creature. When it enters battlefield, if enchanted creature is red, tap it. As long as enchanted creature is red, it loses all abilities. Enchanted creature doesn't untap during its controller's untap step. 2 mana, keep something tapped, regardless of whether it's red or not, is pretty good. And the fact that if it is red, you're taking all the abilities and tapping it means this deals with things like Tor Bran really, really well. It's alright. Has flash on it as well. Skullport Merchant. 3 mana, 1/4. When it enters battlefield, create a treasure token. For 2 mana, you can sacrifice another creature or treasure. Draw a card. That's not bad. It's 3 mana. It has 4 life, which means it's fairly tough. And it can be a source of card draw with or without creatures. Ooh, stop right-clicking, chance. 1 mana fly. Enchantment aura. Enchanted creature is flying. That makes sense. When this creature deals combat damage to a player, venture into the dungeon. Ooh, I like that because it's a 1 mana enchantment, so it can proc everything that, you know, gets procced by enchantments. But also it gives you this little venture into the dungeon portion, so it's not just flying. If venturing into dungeons is excellent, then you know, we might find ourselves playing that. Let's see. Can't read that. Can't read that. Treasure Vault. It's a land. Tap it. Colorless. Double X, sacrifice treasure vault, create X treasure tokens. Ooh, I like that a lot. That's cool. I don't know how effective it is, but it's cool. And then we have Limerith, Desert Doom. 5 mana, 5/5 with flying, obviously. Has Ward of 4 as long as it's untapped. So as soon as you tap it, that's when people are gonna start destroying it. When it deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Then if you have fewer than 3 cards in hand, draw cards equal to the difference. Okay, so it doesn't... Hold up. It doesn't have to connect to draw you cards. You just need to have less than 3 cards in hand and you'll guarantee draw, 1 through 3. But if it does connect, then... oh, wait. Deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Then, if you have fewer... No, I think you still have to deal combat damage. Sorry. I lied. 5 mana, 5/5. Initially, I'm going to say it's like mediocre, that it's not worth that Mythic Rare. Maybe a rare at best, but Mythic Rare, ooh, yeah, probably not. Try not to. Unless the deck just comes out and it's like, oh, you have to have this card because it does something. Direwolf Prowler, 3 mana, 2/2, gets +2/+2 and gains haste until end of turn for 2 mana. You can only activate this once each turn. I feel like that's really a draft limitation. Uh-oh. Is this the first dungeon? It says enchantment class, though. It doesn't say... No, this is like a weird saga. We're still not in... Where are the dungeons? Druid class. Gain the next level as a sorcery to add its ability. So you have to like pay to like level it up. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. Cool beans. For 3 mana, you can level it up to level 2. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. Kind of bad, not gonna lie. 5 mana, when this class becomes level 3, target land you control becomes a creature with haste, and this creature's power and toughness are each equal to the number of lands you control. It's still a land. That's interesting. That's interesting. I don't know how much it'll be used, but the whole class idea is kind of interesting. Paladins, aside from the fact that these can probably be destroyed super easy, these enchantments, these enchantment classes probably aren't going to be too well. Paladin Shield, 2 mana, artifact equipment, flash, when it enters the battlefield, attach it to target creature immediately. That's good. Equipped creature gets +0/+2. Okay. So it's really just, what's it called? We can't read this card, so we'll just, I actually want to open that one. We'll just open it up. There's a lot of stuff to go through here. Paladin class, 1 mana spells your opponent casts during your turn cost 1 more to cast. So counter spells, instead of generally costing 3, they cost 4. It's alright for 1 mana to go ahead and get that down. Then you can input 3 mana. Creatures you control get +1/+1. That's fair enough. 5 mana, whenever you attack until end of turn, target attacking creature gets +1/+1 for each other attacking creature and gains double strike. We've seen that ability before, and I can't remember where it was from, but it was always fairly useful. A nice little surprise. What was that? Oh, it was an enchantment. Whenever you attack, it gets the power of all the creatures, or, the sum of the power, or something like that. The sum of the number of the creatures. It was a fun card. I do remember that. So that's interesting. I like the Paladin class. Oh, yawn. Monk class, 2 mana. The second spell you cast each turn costs 1 less to cast. Interesting. Probably annoying. Can you imagine that with counterspell? Essentially, you could play something like an Opt for 1 mana. Play counterspell for 2 mana. You've only spent 3 mana as per the usual, but you've, done something and countered a spell. Anyways, level 2, when this class becomes level 2, return up to 1 target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Interesting. 3 mana, level 3. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of your library. For as long as it remains exiled, you may cast this card from exile as long as you've cast another spell this turn. The first ability seems like the best one for that monk class. Like, you would only level it up to level 2 when you absolutely need it, and only to level 3 when you absolutely need it again. So, honestly, it just seems kind of like the best one, as just like I set it and forget it and use it when you need it. Sepulchre Ghoul. I'm saying that wrong. 2 mana, 2/1, sacrifice another creature, gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Oh, it's a common, yeah. Split the party, 5 mana sorcery, choose target player, return half the creatures they control to their owner's hand, round it up. Five mana, that's the only thing about that. Price of Loyalty, 3 mana, gain control of target creature until end of turn, untap it, it gains haste until end of turn. If mana from a treasure was spent to cast a spell, that creature gets +2/+0 till end of turn. Just some more steal your opponent's stuff. Anyways, checking out these cards that I couldn't read. Trickster's Talisman. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player. You may sacrifice Trickster's Talisman. If you do, create a treasure token. That's a copy. Create a token, sorry, that's a copy of this creature. What? So 1 mana artifact, equipped for 2. +1/+1. When it deals combat damage, sacrifice it, create a copy of the creature. I mean, it's really interesting. I don't know how we'll end up using it, but we'll for sure end up using it. Reaper's Talisman. So these are all just talismans, huh? Whenever a equipped creature attacks, it gains Death Touch until end of turn. When a equipped creature attacks alone, defending player loses 2 life, you gain 2 life. That's alright. Westgate Regent. I hope I'm saying that right. 5 mana, flying, 4/4, ward, discard a card. So whenever the opponent goes to target you, they have to discard a card if they want to. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, put that many +1/+1 counters on it. I mean, yeah, if you can get it to live, it's solid, right? Swing in, deals 4 damage. Now it's an 8/8 with flying. We'll end up losing to this card in the here's and there's. I'm sure of it. Ingenious Smith, 2 mana, 1/1. Enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards, reveal an artifact, put it into your hand, put the rest on the bottom. And whenever one or more artifacts enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Only triggers once each turn. 2 mana, 1/1. Probably won't get 2 played. Rogue Class, 2 mana. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, exile the top card of that player's library face down. You may look at it for as long as it remains exiled. Kind of helps with mill, kind of not, because you're exiling, not discarding. 3 mana, level it up to level 2. Creatures you control have menace. Could be good for those beatdown rogue decks, I suppose. Level 3, you may play cards exiled with Rogue Class, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast those spells. Interesting. So the first step goes with the third step. Could be annoying, but I think for the large majority, well, actually, yeah, because you just plop this down and keep getting them lower and lower and lower. This allows your rogues to get in even more, and then you start playing back what you've already exiled from them. Might be useful. Sorcerer's Class, 2 mana. They're all 2 mana, apparently. When Sorcerer's Class enters the battlefield, draw 2 cards and discard 2 cards. Probably the weakest ability I've seen. For 2 mana, creatures you control have tap, add blue or red. Spend this mana only to cast an instant or sorcery spell or to gain a class level. Okay. So this is for any class, actually. And then 5 mana. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that deals damage to each opponent. What? Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, that spell deals damage to each opponent equal to the number of instant and sorcery spells you've cast this turn. But what about spells that have, you know, when this spell deals X damage, you gain X stuff? Does it just deal more damage and gain you more stuff? Interested in this card. I don't think it'll be all that great though. Djinni Windseer, haven't we already? Yeah, Scry, flying. I think we've already seen that. Fighter Class, 2 mana, enters the battlefield, search your library for an equipment card, reveal it, put it into your hand, shuffle. Okay, take it back. This has got to be the worst ability off the rip. 3 mana, level 2, equipped abilities you activate cost 2 less to activate. That's okay. Whenever a creature you control attacks up to one target creature, blocks it this combat if able. That's just bad. Then we have Minsk, Beloved Ranger. Naya, 3 mana, 3/3, human ranger. It's a mythic. Ooh. It's a little scary. When it enters the battlefield, create Boo. A legendary 1/1 red hamster creature token with trample and haste. I'm guessing that's what he's holding. Pay X mana until end of turn. Target creature you control has base power and toughness XX and becomes a giant in addition to its other types. So you'd be playing this in the mid to late game. Play it down. Boo comes down. It's a 1/1 trample, all that kind of stuff. You input X amount of mana, however much you have left over, and it gets a little bigger. Again, these mythics are lacking, just honestly lacking. Don't get me wrong, we may see this in the deck, it may be somewhat effective, but for a mythic, there's so many other rares that I would rather have than this mythic in this set. Honestly, I can't think of too many, if any, mythics that I'm like excited for, past the planeswalkers, you know. But damn, these creatures are shit tier. Delina, Wild Mage, 4 mana. We've already read this. Definitely already read that. Hulking Bugbear, I think we've already read that. 3 mana, 3/3 with haste. Red Dragon, we've read that. Treasure Chest, read that. You meet in a tavern, 4 mana sorcery, choose one. Form a party, look at the top 5 cards to your library. You may reveal any number of creatures from among them, put them into your hand, put the rest in the library in any random order. Or creatures you control get +2/+2 until end of turn. That's interesting because we've had this before with Lead the Stampede or something like that, but it was 3 mana, look at the top 5, put all those creatures into your hand. So this is the same thing as that, with potentially another side to it. That's alright. Alright, more classes. This video may go a little bit longer today. Ranger class, 2 mana, enters battlefield 2/2 green wolf, 2 mana to level it up. Whenever you attack, put a +1/+1 counter on target attacking creature. Level 3, you may look at the top card of your library anytime. You may cast creature spells from the top of your library. That's alright. Wizard class, 1 mana, you have no maximum hand size. That's very interesting for a 1 mana ability. 3 mana, when this class becomes level 2, draw 2 cards. That's got to be the worst level 2. And then for level 3, whenever you draw a card, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. That's interesting. It's an uncommon, so that's cool. Minsk, we've read you. Bard class, 2 mana, legendary creature you control, enter the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter. Legendary spells you cast cost 1 red, 1 green less to cast. This effect reduces only the amount of colored mana you pay. Interesting. So you could make an ultimatum cost 5 mana. Not that people have problems getting down ultimatums, but that's just the first thing that came to mind. That's interesting. Level 3, whenever you cast a legendary spell, exile the top 2 cards of your library. You may play them this turn. That's alright. Cleric class. If you would gain life, you gain that much +1 for 1 mana. You know, that's pretty good. We've only ever seen that ability at 3 mana. And strapped to a creature. 4 mana, level it up. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. It's alright, except it's a little expensive. And 5 mana, when it becomes level 3, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. You gain life equal to its toughness. That's an interesting one. It's a very interesting one. Warlock. Beginning of your instep, if a creature died this turn, each opponent loses 1 life. Very lackluster. So, well, I mean, for 1 mana, actually not really. Again, we usually see that type of ability on a 3 mana kind of thing, so it's alright. Oh no, but it only procs once per turn. It's not per each creature death, it's at the end of your end step. Okay, well, it's all right. 2 mana, level 2 becomes level 2. Look at the top 3 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. Okay, and then 7 mana becomes level 3. Jesus. At the beginning of your end step, each opponent loses life equal to the life they lost this turn. Loses life equal to the life they lost this turn. That's really strong. If you deal 10, they lose 10, you win. But, you know, you gotta input all this stuff as well. Okay, I'm gonna guess that this thing is this thing, right? Yeah. Wow, that looks funky. Barbarian class, 1 mana. If you would roll 1 or more dice, instead roll that many dice plus 1 and ignore the lowest roll. For 1 mana, that is insanely good. 2 mana, whenever you roll 1 or more dice, target creature you control gets +2/+0 and gains menace. For 2 mana, not shabby. And for 3 mana, creatures you control have haste. I like it. I like that class a lot. Oh, why is it mono red gets one of the best classes? Come on. Come on. Old Gnawbone. That's what they call me. 7 mana, 7/7, flying. Whenever a creature, it's a dragon by the way. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, create that many treasure tokens. So it's a bit of a pipe dream, but a fun one. A fun one for sure. Zorn. 3 mana, 3/2, elemental. If you would create 1 or more treasure tokens, instead create those tokens plus an additional treasure token. That's interesting. And it's in red. What red stuff do we have that creates treasure tokens that already comes down either before and after this? What are we doing to red right now? What are we actually fucking doing? Hello, wizards. You can make these things different colors. You know, it's not just red or blue or black. Green exists too. Not right now, but sometimes it does. By the way, I'm talking about Birgi, which is a 2 mana card that can create you treasure tokens per dwarf tapped, which is really strong. God, this is so insane. This activates per proc as well. So when you have something like Birgi that procs per individual dwarf tapping, you're gaining 2 treasures per tapped dwarf. Now let's say you're playing this in a mono red deck where you have Birgi, that tapped mana, and what is that dragon? What is that dragon? Goldspan, right. Every time it attacks, it creates treasure, then you'll be creating 2. Not only that, but your treasure tokens also tap for 2 or sacrifice for 2 mana. I think finding the right balance of numbers is going to be a little difficult, but Jesus Christ. Also, it only has 2 health. Probably the best part about that card. It only has 2 health. Well, I know what's going to be strong this set. Mono red. Dancing Sword. 2 mana. Artifact. Equipment. Equipped creature gets +2/+1. Whenever equipped creature dies, you may have Dancing Sword become a 2/1 construct artifact creature with flying and ward 1. If you do, it isn't an equipment. I like it. I like it a lot. It's interesting. And y'all know me. I'll take interesting over this kind of stuff any day. Not that this isn't interesting. It's just like these 2 cards. Like, why did they need to be printed? You gave all the other colors thus far very minimalistic sort of benefits as far as I can tell. And then red, you're just like, I mean, we'll make sure that red's not going anywhere. Mono red aggro is and will forever be the quickest way to Mythic. And if it's not, well, I'll be damned. That's what it seems like. Every once in a while you have something like mono white come around. But even still, that's the only time that you don't see mono red. And it's because of life gain. And it's still an aggro deck. Scaled Herbalist. Oh, don't start with me. Don't start. 2 mana, 1/3. Talking to everybody out there that says, James, you said herb. It's not herb, it's herb. I know. You may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. 2 mana, 1/3 that allows you to do this whenever it taps. I don't know. I don't know about that. Doesn't seem good enough. Arcane Investor, 2 mana, 2/1. Search the room. 6 mana, roll a d20. 1 through 9, draw a card. 10 through 20. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put one of them into your hand. Rest on the bottom of the library in any order. 2 mana, 2/1 Elf Wizard. Not good. Loathsome Troll. 5 mana, 6/2. God, everything is so weak in this set. Like, do y'all not realize that Frostbite's still a thing? None of these creatures can exist so long as we have a 1 mana ability to destroy them. And that 1 mana ability is very prevalent, and it's going to remain prevalent. 5 mana, 6/2. For 4 extra mana, after paying 5 mana and getting down this 6/2, you can roll a d20 and activate this only if it's in your graveyard. Right. 1 through 9, put it on the top of your library. This is such a bad card. 10 through 19, return it to your hand, and for 20, you can put it onto the battlefield tapped. Such a bad card, actually. Holy shit. Herald of Hadar, 5 mana, 4/4, Circle of Death, 6 mana, sorry, roll a d20. Again, that's bad. I'm not even gonna. Oh, and then I gotta refresh because, yeah, this is all the spoilers we've gotten, but I haven't seen a single dungeon, so that's a little awkward. Teleportation Circle, 4 mana, enchantment at the beginning of your end step. Exile up to 1 target artifact or creature you control, then return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. Beginning of your end step, exile 1 target artifact or creature you control, then return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. Oh, this is an enchantment version of Thassa. I mean, Thassa is an enchantment, but you know what I mean. The artifact thing could be pretty interesting, but for 4 mana, and you're not getting a creature out of it like you did with Thassa. Okay, so there we go. There's the rest of the cards loaded in. Spools of the Hunt, 3 mana, instant speed. Target creature you control gets +1/+0 until end of turn for each mana from a treasure that was spent to cast this spell. Then that creature deals damage equal to its power to target creature an opponent controls. Kind of bad, but interesting. Unexpected Windfall. 4 mana, instant speed at an additional cost to cast this spell. Discard a card, draw 2 cards, and create 2 treasure tokens. It's very interesting. Forsworn Paladin, 1 mana, 1/1 Human Knight with Menace. 2 mana, tap it, pay 1 life, create a treasure token. Interesting. 3 mana, target creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn. If mana from a treasure was spent to activate this ability, that creature also gains Death Touch. It seems formidable, but you're going to have to constantly be putting in this mana. I don't know. I like it. I like it a lot, but I just don't know. Potion of Healing, 2 mana artifact. When it enters battlefield, draw a card. For 1 white mana, you can tap it, sacrifice, you gain 3 life. Sounds about right. Hobgoblin, Bandit Lord, 3 mana, 2/3, Goblin Rogue. Interesting. Other goblins you control get +1/+1. For red mana, tap it, Hobgoblin, Bandit Lord deals damage equal to the number of goblins that enter the battlefield under your control this turn to any target. Ooh, that is interesting. Interesting. I haven't seen too many effective goblins throughout the set so far, and we know we don't really have that many outside of this set. We have the fiery one that dies and deals damage equal to its power to any target. That one's okay. Oh, yeah. Demogorgon's Clutches, 3 mana, sorcery. Target opponent discards 2 cards, mill 2 cards, and loses 2 life. Interesting. Not really. It's fairly straightforward. 3 mana, 3/2, deals combat damage to a player. Draw a card. Teleportation Circle. We just got done reading that. Alright. Burning Hands, 2 mana, deals 2 damage to target creature or planeswalker. If that permanent is green, deals 6 damage instead. Holy moly. Sudden Insight, 6 mana, instant, draw a card for each different mana value among non-land permanents. Non-land cards in your graveyard. Each different mana value among non-land cards in your graveyard. This is 6 mana? I mean, sure, you could potentially end up drawing 5 cards for 6 mana. And I think this will end up getting played in 4 colored decks. It's It's still a little expensive. But you'll see it. You'll see it, that's for sure. Long Rest. X, 3 green. Return X target cards with different mana values from your graveyard to your hand. If 8 or more cards were returned to your hand this way, your life total becomes equal to your starting life total. So not only do you need to pay 11 mana in order to do that, you also need to have 8 different cards in your graveyard with 8 different costs. So not just 8 different cards with 8 different costs. Seems really cool, and every time it goes off, people are going to hate you for it, unless your life total is already your life total or even above it, then it's just going to be bad. Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, the initial effect seems kind of cool, whatever, but Rally Maneuver, 3 mana instant speed. Target creature gets +2/+0 and gains first strike until end of turn. Up to one other target creature gets +0/+2 and gains lifelink. I like that. I like that sort of offensive defensive ability. Vampire Spawn, 3 mana 2/3, enters the battlefield, each opponent loses 2, you gain 2. Life, I'm talking about. Circle of the Moon Druid, 3 mana 2/4, as long as it's your turn, is a bear with base power and toughness 4/2. So it just goes back and forth. It's good on attacking, it's good on defense. Not bad. Check for traps, 2 mana sorcery, target opponent reveals their hand, you choose a non-land card from it, exile that card. If an instant or a card with flash is exiled this way, they lose 1 life, otherwise you lose 1 life. Interesting. And now we have the Hand in the Eye of Vecna, which we know is required to assemble all the pieces with the Book of Vile Darkness or whatever to create, you know, the 8/8 zombie god, whatever. So, at the beginning of combat on your turn, equip creature or a creature you control named Vecna gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of cards in your hand. 3 mana, creature gets +X/+X. You might have 3 or 4 cards in hand. So you're given like +3/+3. Equip, pay 1 life for each card in your hand, or equip for 2. Wow, that's kind of alright. Hand of Vecna, you got my seal of approval. Eye, let's see about the Eye. 2 mana, legendary artifact, enters the battlefield. You draw a card, you lose 2 life. 2 mana, lose 2, draw 1. Alright, at the beginning of your upkeep, you may pay 2. If you do, draw a card and you lose 2 life. Oh, it's just continued. I mean, of all the things dealing with the Book of Darkness that we've seen, this is the worst one. And if this is the worst one at 2 mana, it's not that bad. It's not horrible. And it's colorless, so it can go into any deck. Obviously, Book of Vile Darkness is 3 triple black mana cost, whatever you want to call it, devotion cost, I don't know. That's alright. Inferno of the Star Mount, 6 mana, 6/6. Dragon spell can't be countered. Interesting, flying and haste. Very interesting. Inferno of the Star Mounts gets +1/+0 until end of turn. When its power becomes 20 this way, it deals 20 damage to any target. Okay. So you can get it to 19, pay 1 mana, and then have it go off. You say, Chance, how do you get that card to 19? I mean, it's not that hard. You can double the power of it if you pay... Pay 2 red mana. It goes up to an 8/8. You double the power with Unleash Fury. Now it's... Sorry, you'd want to put it to 9 power. So you got to pay 3. 3 red mana makes it 9 power. Double its power, it's up to 18. That's at 5 mana already. And you'd have to spend another 2 to get it to 20. So it would need to be on the board, and you'd have to have 7 mana, and you'd have to input it all. And have Unleash Fury. But honestly, that's not too difficult of a place to be in, given you have to have 6 mana to get this thing down, so 7 mana is right around the corner. Unleash Fury, that's just sort of a maybe it can happen kind of thing. But even aside from its ability, 6 mana, 6/6, flying, haste, can't be countered. Very beautiful. It can still be destroyed by things like Heartless Act fairly easily, but yeah, it's nice. Eyes of the Beholder, 6 mana, instant speed. Target creature gets -11 until end of turn. Really love the card art, but seems very pointless. Mordenkainen, whatever. 6 mana, Planeswalker, 5 loyalty, +2, draw 2 cards, then put a card from your hand on the bottom of your library. Okay. -2, create a blue dog illusion creature token with this creature's power and toughness are each equal to twice the number of cards in your hand. You're paying this at 6 mana, so more than likely you'll have maybe 2 left, maybe 3. So it's like a 6/6 or a 4/4. Maybe even an 8/8 at best, you know? Anyways, then -10, exchange your hand and library, then shuffle. You get an emblem with you have no maximum hand size. Well, you better be careful if you're doing that, because then your library is going to have very, very few cards in it, and you're going to be on such a timer. You better be able to win, essentially, or have a combo already tucked in your deck to allow you to win or something, right? Or isn't there a card that allows you to swap your graveyard and library around or something like that? Or maybe it's your graveyard in your hand. Anyways, Plate Armor, 3 mana, equipped creature gets +3/+3, ward 1, equip 3, ability costs 1 less to activate for each other equipment you control. Honestly, that's not bad. Not too shabby. Wild Shape, 1 mana, instant speed, choose 1, until end of turn, target creature you control has that base power and toughness, becomes that creature type, and gains that ability. So for 1 mana, instant speed, you can turn a creature into a 1/3 turtle with hexproof, which is probably the thing that most people will be doing, given you can save your creature that way. A 1/5 spider with reach. Maybe if you need to keep it alive. And then a 3/3 elephant with trample, and that is if you have a smaller creature and you need to swing him. I love that card. Wild Shape. Got my stamp of approval. Ray of Enfeeblement, 1 mana, instant speed. Target creature gets -4/-1 until end of turn. If that creature is white, it gets -4/-4 until end of turn. Interesting. Divine Smite, 2 mana, instant. Target creature or planeswalker and opponent control phases out. If that permanent is black, exile it instead. That's kind of strong. For all these, like, color-specific cards, that's kind of strong. Rust Monster, 3 mana beast, first strike, sacrifice an artifact. Rust Monster gets +2/+0 until end of turn. It's also 2/1. That's just bad. Then we have White Dragon, 6 mana, 4/4, flying, cold breath. When it enters the battlefield, tap target creature and opponent controls. That creature doesn't untap during its controller's untap step. These dragons are all pretty lackluster, honestly. But they're only uncommons, so in commons it makes sense. Monk of the Open Hand, 1 mana elf monk. Flurry of Blows is its ability. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Monk of the Open Hand. On a 1 mana creature, that's really strong. It's really strong. We saw it on Bloodsky Berserker. Granted, that has Menace and it gets 2 +1/+1 counters. In a mono white aggro deck, that's pretty strong. Grand Master of Flowers. 4 mana, 3 loyalty. As long as Grand Master of Flowers has 7 or more loyalty counters on him, he's a 7/7 dragon god creature with flying and indestructible. Well then. So if you were to have Vorinclex down, play this +1, boom, you got a 7/7 dragon. Dragon god, sorry. It's Bahamut? Is it Bahamut? Is that it? Target creature without first strike, double strike, or vigilance can't attack or block until your next turn. That's the +1 ability, one of the +1 abilities. That's okay. It's alright. The other one, search your library and or graveyard for a card named Monk of the Open Hand, which is the card to the left. Reveal it, put it into your hand. If you search your library this way, shuffle. You started out so cool, and then your abilities just became sort of less and less interesting. But we'll definitely still see it in a control deck. It'll be annoying as hell, and you know, we'll end up having a 7/7 Dragon God beating us down pretty consistently from this set, I'm gonna imagine. Because that's really strong, right? +1, you're stopping your opponent's ability to attack with certain creatures, probably their largest creature. The other +1 ability, not that good, but the ability to have a planeswalker that turns into a god, that is. True Polymorph, 6 mana, instant speed. Target artifact or creature becomes a copy of another target artifact or creature. That's just bad. It's just bad. It's so bad, actually. Do you keep the abilities of the original creature? Like, we have Mythos of Aluna. 4 mana, create a token of any permanent. Lands, planeswalkers, creatures. And you don't have to have anything to do this. It comes out of nowhere. Maybe they're lowering the power level of the sets again, because that's what it feels like. This set is... It's got some Garbo rares and Mythic rares. All I'm saying is watch out on what you're spending your wild cards on, because there's a lot of shit in this set that's just bad. Skeletal Swarming, 5 mana enchantment. Each skeleton you control has trample, attacks each combat if able, and gets +X/+O, where X is the number of other skeletons you control. I like the idea of it. I don't know how effective it's going to be, given we don't have hardly any skeletons in general. At the beginning of your end step, create a tapped 1/1 black skeleton creature token. If a creature died this turn, create 2 of those tokens instead. Ooh, I like that. I like the ability to flood the board, so I take back everything I said about you, Skeletal Swarming. Swarm. Moving us along. Ace Rarak, the Arch Lich. The Arch Lich. 3 mana, 5/5. Hello, Zombie Wizard. Let's go. When it enters the battlefield, if you haven't completed Tomb of Annihilation. Boy, I wish I could see these fucking dungeons. We've been going through cards for like 3 or 4 days now and still haven't seen a goddamn dungeon. When Wizards knows how to spoil cards, they really know how to spoil them. Return this card to its owner's hand and venture into the dungeon. If you haven't, when it enters, venture into the dungeon. Pay 3 mana, venture into a dungeon. If you haven't completed one. It's kind of bad. Whenever it attacks for each opponent, you create a 2/2 black zombie creature token unless that player sacrifices a creature. So as long as you've completed that certain dungeon, which we have no way of knowing how good this card is until later, I suppose, then it, I mean, god damn it. We'll come back to it, I guess, because that's the only way we're going to know. Lair of the Hydra, which I'm guessing is that card on the left as well. We just can't really read it. If you control 2 or more other lands, Lair of the Hydra enters the battlefield tapped. Oh, okay, so it's the green version. Tap it, add green mana, pay X plus green until in return, Lair of the Hydra becomes an XX green Hydra creature. Still a land, X can't be 0. Okay. Hobgoblin, we've read. Silver Raven. 1 mana bird, flying, artifact creature. When it enters the battlefield, scry 1. Sure. Mind Flayer, 5 mana, 3/3, dominant monster. When Mind Flayer enters the battlefield, gain control of target creature for as long as you control Mind Flayer. Oh, now see, this is the kind of thing that you need to be worried about. This is 5 mana, take control of your target opponent's creature. Not just exile it, but take control of it. Yikes. Blue Dragon, 7 mana, 5/5. When it enters the battlefield until your next turn, target creature opponent control gets -3/-3. Another one gets -2/-0. Oh, sorry, -3/-0, -2/-0, and then another one gets -1/-0. It's bad. It's bad. It's bad. Run away. Ferret does Fireball, 5 mana instant speed. Deals 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker. Roll a d20. 1 through 9, deal 2 damage to each player. 10 through 20, deal 2 damage to each opponent. Okay. Magic Missile. The spell can't be countered. Deals 3 damage divided as you choose among 1, 2, or 3 targets. That's kind of okay, actually. It's 3 mana. It's sorcery speed. I take it back, actually. You can pretty much always find something to do that better. Not that, but you know what I mean. Dragon's Fire, 2 mana instant speed. Is an additional cost to cast a spell. You may reveal a dragon from your hand or choose a dragon you control. Dragon's Fire deals 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker. If you revealed a dragon card or chose a dragon as you cast a spell, Dragon's Fire deals damage equal to the power of that card or creature instead. But why would you want to deal damage to a dragon you control with the amount of power that it has? Target creature or planeswalker. Oh, no, 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 no. You don't have to target your dragon. You target your dragon as the reveal aspect. Okay. Alright. That makes more sense. Arborea Pegasus. 4 mana, 2/3, enters the battlefield. Target creature gets +1/+1 and gains flying. I feel like we've already read that one, but sure, whatever. The Book of Exalted Deeds. Also kind of feel like we've already read this one. At the beginning of your end step, if you gain 3 or more life this turn, create a 3/3, maybe not, white angel creature token with flying. 3 mana. It's really good. And then pay 3 more white mana, tap it, exile this book, put an enlightened counter on target angel. It gains, you can't lose the game, and your opponent can't win the game. I like it. Sounds very annoying, but I like it. We've read that one. We've read that one. 2 mana, 1/2 with Death Touch. Now I've read that one. We've read Iron Golem. 4 mana, 5/3. It's artifact creature, vigilance. Attacks or blocks each combat if able. Sure. A lot of these you've already seen. Spare Dagger. 1 equipped creature gets +1/+0 and has whenever this creature attacks, you may sacrifice. When you do, this creature deals 1 damage to any target. It's bad. It's bad. Ranger's Longbow. 2 mana. Equipped creature gets +2/+1. Has reach. Equipped for 3. It's bad. Plummet. We've seen it before. It's bad. Target creature gets +2/+3. Must be blocked this turn if able. Bad. Of what I've just read, is the least bad, but it's still bad. Boots of Speed. 1 mana. Equipped creature gets +1/+0 and has haste. We've had this before, basically. It's bad. Armory Veteran. 2 mana. Orc Warrior. 2/2. As long as it's equipped, has Menace. Interesting. Kind of bad. 2 mana, Thieves' Tool. Enters the battlefield, create a treasure token. Equipped creature can't be blocked as long as its power is 3 or less. Interesting, but bad. Horde Robber. 2 mana, 1/3. Deals combat damage to a player. Create a treasure token. Interesting. Deadly Dispute. Instant as an additional cost. Sacrifice an artifact or creature. Draw 2 cards. Create a treasure token. That's pretty good. Steadfast Paladin, 2 mana, 2/2 lifelink. Okay, 3 mana, 2/1. Sorry, Priest of Ancient Lore, 3 mana, 2/1 dwarf cleric. Enters the battlefield, gain 1 life, draw a card. Interesting. Card draw in mono white. That might actually be something. I mean, 3 mana, 2/1 is. Oh, it's laughably bad. Pegasus, we've already read. Great Axe, 1 mana, artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +4/+0. Equip of 5. That's interesting because Fervent Champion can equip things for what? Up to 4 equip costs. So you'd only need to pay 1. So turn 2, you could have a 5/1 Fervent Champion. Seems good. Grim Bounty, sorcery, destroy target creature. Planeswalker, create a treasure, kind of bad. Loyal Warhound, 2 mana, 3/1. Vigilance Dog. When it enters the battlefield, if an opponent controls more lands than you, search your library for basic planes, put it onto the battlefield? What? What the fuck is this? You know, I hear mono green's really good at ramping, but you know what else might be good at ramping? Mono white. Like, what if we just put some fetch lands in their aggro creatures? You know, maybe even give them a little vigilance on that creature. I don't understand the power spikes. Like, it feels like they create sets, and granted, these sets were created long before, you know, they're released, they're play tested and all that kind of stuff. But the sets are created, and they just play more into the shit that's already in control. So are we going to see anything different than a mono white aggro deck rising to the top? Probably not. Mono white, mono red. It's going to be the same old, same old. People are going to say to me, well, Chance, that's sort of the color theme of the sets. Well, Magic's been around for 20 plus years. Well, you don't want to shake it up a little bit? 2 mana, 3/1 vigilance allows you to draw planes out. This card is going to be played out the wazoo. And it may even bring dogs back, honestly. It's a 2 mana, 3/1 with vigilance. So expect to see some one-noted dogs for sure. Apparent Mind Sorcerer, 5 mana, 3/4. When it enters the battlefield, choose target instant or sorcery. What? Choose target instant or sorcery card in your graveyard, then roll a d20. Oh, okay, and then 1 through 9, you may put that card on top of your library. 10 through 20, return it to your hand. It's bad. Temple of the Dragon Queen, I like it. It's a land. As it enters the battlefield, you may reveal a dragon card from your hand. Temple of the Dragon Queen enters the battlefield tapped unless you revealed a dragon card this way or you control a dragon. As Temple of the Dragon Queen enters the battlefield, choose a color. Add 1 mana of the chosen color. Interesting. So not super outrageous, but cool enough. Blink Dog, 3 mana, 1/1 with double strike. And Teleport. 4 mana, Blink Dog phases out. Ooh, that's very interesting. A little costly. A little costly, but it's one of those cards that control players can just have this one card and then end up winning the game, you know what I mean? Sure, initially it only deals 2 damage, but if you increase this damage by even 1, then it's dealing 4 and potentially always remains undestroyable, unexilable, untargetable. Anyways, Neverwinter Dryad, 1 mana, 2 mana, 1 mana, 1/1. For 2 mana, you can sacrifice to search your library for basic forest, put it onto the battlefield tap, then shuffle. It's bad. Leather Armor, 1 mana, equipped creature gets +0/+1 and has ward 1, equipped 0, activate only once each turn. Well, the equip cost of 0 is probably the best thing. Well, you look cool. Asmodeus, the Archfiend, 6 mana, 6/6 is a devil god. Binding Contract. If you would draw a card, exile the top card of your library face down instead. I mean, that just sounds bad. 3 mana, you can draw 7 cards. Oh, okay. For 1 mana, return all cards exiled with Asmodeus, the Archfiend, to their owner's hand, and you lose that much life. Ooh, that's bad. It's so bad. I mean, it's cool. It's not necessarily bad, but it's like you're going to pay 3 mana, draw 7 cards, which are really going to be exiled because of, you know, good old Asmodeus. Then you're going to have to pay an additional mana, so 4 mana total to draw those 7 cards, and you're going to lose 7 life. I mean, I love the idea, the concept of it. I don't know how effective it'll be, though. Wait a minute. Wait a minute, that's the end of the spoilers? There's no dungeons. Let's read through them, shall we? Lost Mine of, and I'm just gonna assume these dungeons are the ones that we're getting because honestly I haven't found them anywhere else, so fuck if I know. Great job delivering on knowledge there. Lost Mine of Fandelver. Cave entrance, scry 1. Then you can go into either one of these rooms, I'm assuming. Goblin Lair, you create a 1/1 red goblin creature token. or you create a treasure token. From there, you can either go into the storeroom if you chose Goblin Lair, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature, and then draw a card. All those are kind of bad. Dark Pool, each opponent loses 1 life, you gain 1 life. Fungi, Cavern, target creature gets -4/-4. This dungeon is just bad. Are these actual dungeons, or are these just people? Whatever. You gain 1 life. Scry 1. Create a treasure token. Target creature can't attack until your next turn. That one's so far okay. Lost level. Scry 2. Exile the top 2 cards to your library. You may play them. Create 2 1/1 black. Scry 3. Draw 3 cards and reveal them. You may cast one of them without paying its mana's cost. Dungeon of the Mad Mage. It's kind of okay. It's kind of okay. You got a lot of rooms to go through, but, you know. Tomb of Annihilation. Each player loses 1 life. Kind of bad. Each player loses 2 life unless they discard a card. Kind of bad. Each player loses 2 life unless they sacrifice an artifact, a creature, or a land. Kind of okay. Discard a card and sacrifice an artifact, a creature, and a land. It's a little rough. And then the last one, Cradle of the Death God. Create the Atropole, a legendary 4/4 black god horror creature token with Death Touch. That's just bad. It's just bad. Alright, so I'm guessing we're only getting 3 dungeons. The first one is really kind of horrible. And the other 2 are, I mean, honestly, Dungeon of the Mad Mage probably be the only dungeon that actually gets played. Oh, and now knowing its abilities, all those dungeon cards we had, yeah, they're kind of bad, huh? Kind of bad. Anyways, thanks everybody for watching this extended breakdown. Sorry for the little jump in between the cards and the dungeons, because I'm sure I'll cut that or whatever. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like down below. Comment in the comment section what your favorite card from the set is in general. What's your thoughts on these poor dungeons are, because they're bad. They're just bad. The set in general is kind of lackluster. But, you know, hey, give me your opinions. Maybe you don't think the same thing. Maybe you think the set's balling out the wazoo. Subscribe if you want to see more awesome content from yours truly. And until next time, until the next video you watch, I will see you then.